Assalamu alaikum. Fear is something we all think we understand, yet very few of us have ever met it directly. Most of our relationship with fear remains second-hand. Concepts, explanations, theories, but the real transformation begins only when we taste fear as it is, in its raw immediacy. Because the moment fear arises, something in us instinctively turns away. We contract, we strategize, we plan, we escape. It is our default conditioning, and this is why fear rules us. We obey it without even noticing. To avoid feeling fear, we invent countless tactics, controlling our environment, planning every angle, distracting ourselves, numbing ourselves, trying to outrun whatever sensation threatens to erupt inside. Anxiety, panic, dread. These are all expressions of the same force. Fear stretches from a faint unease to the most overwhelming panic attack. And in all cases, our impulse is the same. Make it stop. But here I am not interested in dissecting the causes of fear. I'm interested in its teaching. What does fear reveal when we stop running away from it? Because what we usually do, escaping, suppressing, medicating, has never brought real freedom. Fear keeps returning, and we keep obeying it. We become dependent on circumstances remaining favorable, controlled, predictable. Our lives become narrower and narrower, shaped by the things we avoid. But what if, instead of turning away, we simply stopped? Not forcing ourselves to move toward fear, but refusing to run. Just staying, letting the sensation rise, letting it move, letting it be felt. And while all of this happens, instead of getting lost in thinking, how do I fix this? How do I make it stop? We hold steady, clear, receptive. There is nothing wrong with taking practical measures or looking for safety. But imagine doing so from a state of calm recognition instead of frantic escape. Imagine meeting fear the way we would listen to a piece of music or savor a delicacy with presence, with interest, with a willingness to taste. This simple shift changes everything. I know this from experience. In my early 20s, long before I was Muslim, I suffered from debilitating panic attacks, agoraphobia so intense that even going to a market alone felt impossible. I refused medication because I sensed it would only cover the symptoms. I wanted to be free, not merely comfortable. And I learned that the only effective method was immersion, to go toward the very places my fear forbade, and to stay there long enough for the truth to reveal itself. Panic, I discovered, is a wave. It rises, peaks, and then naturally collapses. If you don't flee, it cannot sustain itself. The practice is not only to remain physically present, it's to feel what's happening inside with precision and honesty. It is important to sense the fear as accurately as you can. The tingling, the tightness, the heat, the pressure, the trembling. Let every sensation reveal itself fully in detail. This is how fear itself becomes your object of meditation. Because in reality, fear always begins as a thought, a story, an image about what might happen. The story then ignites a wave of physical, sensorial, energetic reactions in the body. But in this practice, we are not interested in the story. We are not interested in the thoughts that triggered the fear. We step out of the thinking altogether and turn toward the sensations themselves. And here is the good news. The more deeply you feel, the less you think. And the reverse is also true. The more you think, the less you feel. In this practice, The meditation is to feel. When you increase your attention on the bodily sensations, you naturally starve the thoughts. There is simply not enough attention left, no awareness fuel to keep the thinking alive. And so the thoughts subside on their own. Not because you fought them, but because you ignored them, because your attention was resting in the living sensations themselves. The moment you escape, you teach your brain that the panic was justified. You reinforce the pattern. You make the fear stronger. But if you stay, despite the cold sweat, the racing heart, the tightness in the chest, the dizziness, your biology learns a different lesson. There was no real danger, and you are capable of remaining present through the storm. And this rewires you. You realize the panic will not kill you. You stop fearing the sensation itself. And when you stop fearing fear, fear loses its power. After a handful of exposures, the panic attacks faded. They became weaker, shorter, less dramatic until they stopped altogether. Not because I became fearless, but because I learned to feel fear without becoming overwhelmed. I learned to remain centered while the wave passed through. This is meditation in action. Awareness applied precisely when and where it matters most. Now, as a Muslim, I see this whole experience through another light. I know now that every internal state, every contraction, every trembling is from Allah. Nothing arrives without His permission. And if it arrives, it carries a teaching perfectly tailored for me. And the goal is always to draw me nearer to Him. So when fear comes today, I meet it with an open heart, physically open, mentally open, emotionally open. I receive it with trust. Because the essence of this method, letting the wave rise and fall without resistance, is the essence of surrender. It is the same internal movement as sujud, the bowing of the ego before the real. It is the same movement as tawakkul, the quiet certainty that whatever comes is a mercy in disguise. Fear becomes easier to face when you know that the one sending it is the most loving, the most wise. Fear becomes a doorway, a teacher, a purifying fire, a path back to Him. And the surrender becomes more complete, the transformation more profound, because it is not only psychological, it is worship. It is a return to the one who sends the wave and the one who calms the sea. Assalamu alaikum.